Are you ready, Chris? Don't be so nervous.
Boom.
Afternoon. Thanks for joining. I am joined by the one and only Chris Buckler from Keller Williams Market Centre in London Bridge, who, could I say, an early pioneer of the self-employed model or not? Welcome, Chris.
Listen, that would be very kind, Nat. Thank you very much. So I own and operate Keller Williams London Bridge. I'm involved in Keller Williams Scotland. And I guess I've been involved in the self-employed model. So I came over to Keller Williams about 5.5 years ago. But before that, I was running a high street business, which I set up with a really good guy called Dominic, who's taken that business on to do great things. And we tried and tested out the self-employed model. So we were the brand, we'd give you the back-end support. And I think we had maybe 3 associates that worked with us, and we kind of figured out what we're doing. Now I've been running businesses that are the self-employed model, well, since then, really. So thank you for calling me a pioneer. I appreciate it.
Sorry, misheard. I think it was a little bit of a bad line. Okay. All right. So we're talking about the self-employed model. Let's dive in a little bit, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You guys are coming up to what, 70 agents at your London Bridge Market Centre in your other operation, your high street operation. You kicked off there with a self-employed model. So perhaps that gave you the appetite to where you are now. But why are there no UK homegrown self-employed models?
There are a couple, right? They're not necessarily huge. I think 23 will be the year that maybe there will be one of the UK models will drive forward and get it right. I'm not saying they've all got it wrong. I think the reason there's more North American models is the system out there is you are a self-employed agent. So it's quite easy to then pick that model up and put it over here. Whereas the majority of people are, employed in a high street or maybe online now. So the systems, the tools, the models, all the things you need to do and the support you need to give to the agent. When I started it, say my old business, we were still figuring that out. Whereas if you leave the Stetsons and the cowboy hats at the door, actually how to go and do it, our North American colleagues have absolutely nailed. It wouldn't surprise me as well if there's an Australian model that comes over, because you look at how they do real estate, they do it so well, so well. So I'd like to think there'll be some more homegrown talent, or some of the guys, there's Movelli, TA UK, some of those guys will really drive forward. But who knows? I think someone UK based will take a decent amount of market share this year.
Okay, all right. So looking at Keller Williams, there's been a lot of press around various things in Keller recently, but one of the criticisms might be that there's a whole load of training going on, but not so much business. What do you say to that?
Listen, I get hit with that a lot. I'm going to say the issue with the Keller Williams or my model is, and then that sounds really bad, but I suppose if I was to look at it as the viewer watching this and say, well, what is the issue with that? Is because we provide so much content, right? Whether it's social media, how to negotiate, I can go on and on and on. There is so much. So we're not just going to turn that off and employ people, right? People come to us for training, coaching, mentorship, so that they can then go and grow their business. So there's a heck of a lot of training. Doesn't mean you need to be on it the whole time. Some of our top agents very rarely plug into it, but it's available for everyone. So I like to think we offer so much by the way of resources that's always going to be open. And that's just the way we operate as our model.
Okay. So how do you think that model will develop this year? I mean, there's been a lot going on, but for 23, how do you think your model will pan out this year?
Well, if you look at the top, and I don't mean top, I'm not saying we're the best or EXP or whatever else, but if you look at the models with the most agent count, right? You're looking at Keller and EXP are kind of the top 2. When I started this journey with Keller Williams and I opened my market centre 4.5 years ago, no one knew who we were or what the model was. And then there was a period of, does it work? Am I going to be successful? Now I've got guys that are with me from big brands that have come on over, and their contemporaries are looking at them going, these guys are earning a few £100,000 profit a year, and then some in some cases, right? So the model's been proven, and I think more people have been toying with it and looking at it for a long while. And the market's, I think, going to get harder in 23. So I think there will be more of an acceptance from some of the guys that said, nah, that won't work, it's too American or whatever else. And I think the model will continue to see, percentage increases of agents going, I don't want to work 50, 60 hours a week for a salary and then 10% of what I sell. I want to sell 10 houses a year, be present with my kids, and earn more than what I'm earning as the manager of this office in South London. So I think the model's proven now, whether it's us, EXP, whoever. And I think a lot of people are looking at it. We're getting a lot of inquiries in, lots of conversations from decent agents. And I know there's a European counterpart coming to open up. I think more and more people are going to try and get into this space. And for me, it's who's going to offer the best value and what that then looks like.
So tell me the why. So I'm an agent. I'm either returning or with another company. Why? What's the upside for me as the individual, and the downside?
So there's loads of benefits. The big thing with our model is it's set up to help agents create wealth, right? So if you're working 5-6 days a week and it's long hours, if you put that same energy into our model and you're learning based, coachable, and you're a decent agent in many cases, then you're going to earn a damn sight more than where you are now. And the other thing I think is you're in control of your time. So I know, ironically, we're filming this at 3:00 on a Monday. At 3:00, I'm normally I switch off my, I'm not great for meetings. Hopefully this interview is coming across all right. But I'll go to the gym, I'll go for a walk, get my steps in, whatever else. Imagine trying to do that at your high street desk, right? Imagine just going, listen, I'm just going to pop out for a few hours before my next vow to get myself in the right headspace because I really want to win it. So for me, it's time and money are the positives. The downsides are obviously cash flow. No one pays you to be an entrepreneur. So you have to go through the pain of setting up a business. Now I've been self-employed since I was 23. So I'm very used to that, but I fully appreciate that most agents watching this won't be. And it is for the younger guys, do they get a loan from the bank and mum and dad? Do the older guys potentially remortgage? Or whatever else to get that finance, right? Does the other half go back to whatever? It's tight on cash flow for the first 6 months. There's no doubt about it. So you've got to weigh that up with your time, your freedom, and how much you want to earn. And if you're watching this now as an agent, I'd say go and work out your average fee in your office and go, right, okay, if I was to take the vast majority of that, say, if we pick them, say 70%, just makes it easy, right? What impact would that have if I sold 10 of those? So I need to go find the business and list it. But if I did 10 properties at the average fee, what would that mean to me and my family? And actually, then the motivation for, we could just, not have that next holiday, or we could postpone this or whatever else. If people are hungry enough, they'll go and find the resources to do it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, there's been quite a lot of criticism around the fees as well. On both sides, to be fair. But what's your view? Tell us a bit about the Keller Williams fee structure.
Sure. So any agent can set the fees they want, right? It's that simple. So for me, I personally don't list at less than 2%. So I'll do kind of 5-10 sales a year to make sure. I don't want to be the guy that runs and owns a business and isn't in the job, through the process. Yeah. I'm an agent. I love it, right? So I'm always going to do that. But for me, I think if you offer that value, then it's there. And some agents will be watching this going, not in my town. And I laugh because the amount of agents have said that to me throughout our career and journey. And I think the difference is, if I believe I can get 2% and you believe you can't, well, you're never going to get it. The second bit is it comes down to value. So I'm helping a lady negotiate with her onward, right? I've been to view it with her. I found out who the developer is. I'm doing a load of extra stuff to ensure that she moves from end to end, but I secure a really good price. So I'm negotiating on the onward for her in my fees. If it's, people get me from start to finish. and I'll go to war to get the best price the market will allow for people. I'll guide them.
Yeah.
I'll be that. I genuinely see myself as a consultant. Not just listen. I am an estate agent, so I'm not saying not just an estate
traditional
agent.
agent,
An estate agent that comes
agent
out, sticks
MO.
it out, sells it, and doesn't care about them. These, when I go and pitch, I genuinely think I'm pitching to be their agent for life or to be their property advisor for life. And when you pitch it that way, it then becomes very, very easy to get 2%, 2% plus, in fact.
Yeah, well, good tips. I mean, that goes for traditional agency as well. What you're talking about there in terms of within your fee, you're negotiating for on the onward as well. So that goes for traditional agent. Okay. All right. So, Chris, let's finish up with your outlook for the rest of the year, or this year. You've only just started, but for 23, what's your thoughts?
It's going to be a bumpy ride. I think if Chris Watkin put a stat out this week,
Christopher
Watkin, you might have
come
across it. And
the stat
was if you take the first week in January 23 versus the first week in January 22, there were circa 5 more deals agreed across the whole of the UK. But you don't see that in the press. That being said, I'd look at that stat and I'd go, yeah, but the market was slightly suppressed in the back end of the year with Liz Truss and everyone going, I'm just going to hold fire with mortgages and kind of see what's happened. This is mad. Here's my take on it. I love a tough market, right? Because that's when you've got stale stock. That's when people need proper advice. I don't know if you ever watched Tom Panos, but he does a really good YouTube thing. I'm not going to do the accent, but essentially he's like, have you seen the agents that joined the business 12 months ago? They don't wear any, socks. They wear short trousers. And they all walk around, they've sold loads of property in the last year and they've done really, really well. He goes, but now they're coming to me going, oh, well, they only want to accept 1.1 and they are only prepared to accept 1.3. So what do we do? That's when great agents advise. That's when they go around and sit on the sofa and have a cup of tea and work out what's the right thing. And it's a great way to take stock. If I give you an example, yesterday I went to a valuation. The guy said, Chris, you've got it. And I said, I don't think you want to sell. And I said, actually, you've just told me you've got for your 4 kids. And you're moving up to the Midlands. If you were to keep your equity in this house, put it on a buy-to-let, and then move, the capital appreciation you're going to get in this hotspot, South London, which I think is going to fly up, is going to be far much more than the appreciation. So let's look at inheritance and all types of things for your 4 kids. And he was like, wow. He's like, I've just told you can sell it. And I was like, but I don't think it's the right decision. Off the back of that, turns out he does evictions for landlords, and the majority of landlords that come to him don't have a managing agent in place. So he's just said, Chris, I'll just set you up with that.
Well, it's all about service, isn't it?
It's all about service and doing the right thing. And I think a good agent that really, really advises and listens will take a load of market share this year. And for self-employed agents that have that time, they can go and spend 2-3 hours with the client if they really, really need to. I think they'll, our model will excel in a tougher market. I really do.
All right. Just before we finish off, Chris, apart from us, you and I both having the battle of the quiffs here. Yeah. Although you're the background, I'm sure.
I'm with the background though, right?
So, tell us about the person, about Mr. Buckler himself. And what makes you tick?
What makes me tick? So at the moment, sleep, and you might go, what? I've just charged my daughter takes my rings off me, but I track my sleep. That sounds really silly. And you're going, why is he telling us about sleep? I've just had my second child, so I'm not getting much, but I'm a big geek on routines, daily habits, living in a state of gratitude, tracking things. My mattress changes temperature based on my sleep cycle and all that type of stuff.
Wow.
So I like to hack things to make sure they're really, really efficient. And that goes through every area of my life and business. What else? I develop houses. I flip houses. We're just, as you know, Nat, we're buying our next flip. And I've got 3 on the go at the moment. So I enjoy the whole kind of end to end. And I've done that again since I was about 23. And I live not too far from you, which is
you lucky boy. All right, that's brilliant. Thanks, Chris.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Chris Buckler, Keller Williams Market Centre, London Bridge. Thanks very much for your time, Chris.